first meeting is a chance to get to know each other and set a friendly, relaxed tone for your learning partnership. Your first meeting is a chance to decide when and where you'll meet and to gather information to make tutoring relevant and rewarding for your learner. Find out what your learner wants to learn about or be able to do, and what helps your learner learn best. And enjoy yourself.
So Janine, one of the things that's kind of fun to do at first is what's called a learning styles inventory. Have you ever done one?
No.
No? A learning styles inventory is just kind of a little quiz that helps us find out how you learn best, because not everybody learns the same way. Some people learn best by looking at things. They have to see it. They can't just hear it. It'll go in one ear and out the other. Some people learn by listening. Some people are good listeners. They can listen to the news and hear things and talk about them. Some people learn best by moving things around and touching them, and they have to get active. Their body has to be involved in it. So for each of the learning styles, you kind of have to use different materials and ways of doing things that are specific to you so that you will take in the information at your best.
So we all don't order from the same menu.
You're right. Absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. So I was thinking that we could do the learning styles inventory and see if we can find out how you learn best, so that next week when we get started, I can use that information in a way that hopefully will make it work for you. So the first category is about, it's called visual strengths, and that is, like we said, just people who like looking at things, people who learn by seeing. I'll just ask you the question and you just don't think about it too long, because then it'll be different. The first one says, you can put together almost anything with help when using printed or pictured directions. Does that sound like you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you close your eyes when you try to memorize something or remember it?
I look around.
Nope. Do you notice things around you?
Yes.
Pay attention, all right? Are you good at working with and solving jigsaw puzzles?
Yes.
Do you like to see what you're learning?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a good imagination?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think the best way to remember something is to picture it in your mind?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the next section is about hearing. It's called auditory strengths.
Okay.
And the first question here is, do you love to communicate and talk a lot?
Yes.
I thought so. Okay. In your spare time, do you enjoy listening to a CD or music or something on the radio?
Yes.
Okay. And the last category that we talked about is the hands-on category. It's a fancy word. They call it kinesthetic. It means like
Kinesthetic?
Kinesthetic. It means like movement. And this one is tactile. It means touchy. People who are like to touch things and move them around. Yeah. So tactile is touching. Kinesthetic is moving.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it hard to hold your attention, especially when reading, unless the story is full of action? Do you need, if you're reading a book, does it have to be something that really grabs your interest, or you kind of drift off? Okay. Are you a high energy person who doesn't sit still much?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Well, we'll call that not so much. Okay. So when you were young, was your mom always yelling at you, don't touch that, don't touch that? No? Okay. So it looks like from the inventory that you are mostly a visual learner. Looks like this is your predominant one, the one that works best for you. If I said, okay, read through this, how would that work best for you? Would you remember more if I read it and you're looking at it at the same time?
We did it together.
Yeah, yeah. So that means that the taking things in, the seeing it and the hearing it together is going to strengthen it for you more than just giving you something to read.
So see it, define it, and use it.
Yeah, yeah. So for a visual learner, it means you remember visual details. Some people look around and they just look around and go on. But you can remember things about what you see. It says you can follow along when others read. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You would rather see what needs to be learned. That's what we just talked about. Yeah. Yeah. You need written instructions. If somebody says, okay, here's how you make cookies, just like me, you probably won't remember past ingredient 2, but give you the recipe and cookies it is, right? It says you also might have trouble following lectures. And for a visual learner, as a reader, you learn from reading words and stories rather than hearing them. And you figure out symbols and signs because you're used to looking at the details. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yep. You're an observer. You look around for the details. Those are the things that clue you in. You read other people's body language. Are you good at that? Absolutely. Yeah. So again, and we talked about how dressing neat in colors and matching and things like that. So this says you look for color, shape, and design. Does that sound right?
It's kind of neat how that worked.
Yeah, the to a T. Yeah. So on the other page, this tells us a little bit about the things that we can do in our sessions together that'll help you learn and remember best.
Okay.
So for a visual learner, it says these learners may have auditory problems, such as difficulty remembering the alphabet unless starting from the beginning. Has that ever been a problem? If I said, okay, L, what's the rest of the alphabet?
M, N, L, P.
Okay, that's not you then.
My kids have grown. I had to learn it as they grew.
That's true. Kids will get you on top of things. For us, we can use visual words when we talk, like, I see that, explain things on paper with pictures. Sometimes it's a lot easier to see what I'm talking about than it is to hear what I'm talking about. Have you ever done a visualization exercise? Have you ever closed your eyes and listened to music and kind of went wherever it took you, or look at a picture and imagine what that person's life might be like? Ever tried that?
We call it daydreaming.
When we write it,
And that's usually at the beach.
when we write it down, we call it a story. Yeah. So that, again, we do have a book that comes out every year of stories that the learners in this program write. And that is a really good way to start a story. So that's something else that we could do at some point.
Maybe I can put it down as my goal.
Oh, we'll add it to it. Okay. So we can describe things in visual terms, right? You go to one of the high-tech places and you hear a lot of high-tech words and it makes no sense at all. But when we describe things, the colors, the shapes, the textures, the background, then, yeah, it comes a little more clear. So the next point says we can teach with flashcards or posters or maps. Does that sound like something that would work?
Actually, I brought some information with me.
You did?
Can I share it with you?
Sure.
Okay. So I've been studying and on my own, but I found this, and this is the kind of style of, it's for flashcards for the test that I have to take.
Oh.
And so this is kind of what I've been doing, has been like, what are the 4 C's for a person's credit score? And then I've just been matching it up to pictures and stuff. So this has really helped me. So maybe we can kind of go over this, or maybe make some flashcards.
This is perfect. This is exactly what we've been talking about. This is completely visual.
Okay.
It's no wonder this works so well for you. Where did you find it?
I found it on the internet.
Oh.
So I went through my class and I graduated and got my certificate. Now I just have to take my state test. And so this is what when I hear the word test and stuff like that, I get a little nervous. So I really kind of just did some research on the internet, and this seemed like a good fit for me.
You were right. It's absolutely perfect. And this is good because going forward, this is a great example of what I can do to help you with other things.
Okay, great.
All right. Thanks so much, Janine. It was so nice to meet you.
You too. Thanks, Jane.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to getting together.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Both tutors and learners tend to feel nervous about meeting each other and getting started. Just know that sharing your time and yourself and a sense of enthusiasm will get your relationship off to a great start on your learning adventure.